UNDP Ghana's YAI transforms life through youth-led innovation, and UNDP's chief technical advisor is on the front page there. Affirmative Action Act requires more resources for full implementation. That's from the minister designate. Now, the Daily Graphic is also reporting this morning: no tolerance for arrogance, disrespect. President Mahama is telling appointees. I really hope the man could crack the whip on this. With time, and Lord Acting was right, power corrupts. But when people feel that they are that powerful, and we've seen that happen in this country a lot, the way they lord the power over people in these states, then once you have selected at will to represent you, to do some work for you, the way they lord the power over you, the way sometimes they tell you, let me give you an example. For example, the way the minister communicated the re-registration, the extension of the re-registrations, and the indication of that to everybody. I'm talking about SIM re-registration. That kind of attitude is not what we expect public officers, if they are mindful of their role as public officers, merely representing the people. It's like employers and employees are disrespecting the employers. I mean, these people don't accept it in their private lives. They don't accept it if they are to be running their companies that way. But it appears acceptable to the rest of us in this republic. So I am happy that he's signaling that they should exhibit tolerance for their views and to work to meet their aspirations. And it's important. A politician cannot say that, oh, why are you stopping me to ask me questions? But what is your use then? I mean, ask yourself again, why are you representing me? And the worst part is when you're not delivering and you're arrogant on top of it. I mean, a bit of it can be acceptable if you are delivering and you don't have time to engage, but you're not delivering and you're arrogant too. So what are you doing with the time anyway? So really, I am excited but it should not end with merely saying it. I want to see people being removed, people being sacked, not because they stole money, but because the president is convinced the people say you are arrogant, or you are not being tolerant, or you are disrespecting the people who gave you power. I will be very excited. In fact, I would actually be praising John Dramani Mahama every day. And he said it at the swearing in of the first batch. But from the corner, the people are talking about Dr. Ine's, spectacles. Dr. Ine is wearing dark shades. Yes. At the Jubilee, I was being sworn. Have you seen that in there? Dark shades, like, Men in Black, the kind of shades at the swearing-in ceremony. These dark shades were reminiscent of National Security Minister Albert Kandapa. Yes, but I know that Albert had a problem with the eyes, right? I don't know whether Dr. Ino equally has a problem with his eyes, but dark shades inside the building there. When there's no, when
there's no sunlight.
Yes. The people are saying that it might be incongruous, but maybe that is how attorney generals are supposed to behave now.
Oh, really?
I don't know. Ask Mama V. She has worked there before. Is that the expectation now that nobody sees you? Major implementer of oral.
Are you done with the Daily Graphic?
No, I need to. Oh, you want me to move on? I thought we were assessing how the men have appeared.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, so there is Kasiela to forcing to. There is John Jinapo standing there, and Harry Naidusu is also standing there. But Harry Naidusu is wearing a blazer and for such a ceremony, some are worried whether wearing full suits wouldn't have been the best
So is that
option.
what boys were talking about?
Yes, the people have to assess fully. But why? Didn't you see the assessment that was done at Donald Trump's declarations? The laughter of Hillary Clinton, the complaints and the facial expression of Kamala and co. It's important that we assess that. But ultimately, the expectation of the people is that these people are supposed to work. No excuses. I heard Kasiel Atufosin say clearly that they will do all that they can to make sure that they deliver and make John Dramani Mahama the best president in the Fourth Republic.
Look,
that is a massive declaration. Mindful of where we are, mindful of the things that ought to be done, and people expect results immediately.
You know what? For all of them, and it's important they recognize that their performance will go a long way. And this is why I say it's important. We know that part of the reason Dr. Baumian lost the election was that nobody believed this whole thing about, oh, I am I was asked to provide support service for the Minister of Finance and the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, and that is why I was championing that through digitalization. He was expected to have transformed the economy, because that is why President Akufo-Addo told all of us he brought Dr. Bamia. So for all those who have presidential ambition, if you've been appointed as a minister and you fail, you too have no business coming to seek a mandate as president of this country.
In fact, it's actually the beginning of your actual assessment.
Yes. So I am happy they're saying these things. And we will judge. Look, once they get into, now that they've gotten into office, we're going to be assessing them. We'll assess them with the NDC manifesto and what they said at the vetting.
True.
Every time you do anything, we'll compare and decide whether you've actually gone according to that. Because at the end of the day, Ghana must become a better place for all of us.
True.
I mean, this whole
And
thing.
we realize that sitting back and waiting till you go to a domestic detention before you talk is problematic. You end up losing, even if you are not interested in the system.
But you see, yes, and for those of us here on the Super Morning Show, when we complained about the economy, when we said that we had always been at high risk of default, people said we were
regime change
agenda. It is here.
But when they lost money, we are the same people who were calling to speak more about the system.
Exactly. So we're going to be assessing.
All right.
And like the president says, they should be humble. We're assessing them.
Yeah. And now, reduced ministries' portfolios good, experts say, but urge caution and government to provide incentives for agribusiness to produce raw materials. And there's one thing else that John Dramani Mahama, the president of the Republic of Ghana, said that is instructive. It's about the asset declaration. I recall just last week, I was with Daniel Domlevo, former Auditor General, and he believes that you have no business at all being in office without having declared. He believes that Mahama should state it. So I'm happy that the man at the swearing of the ministers told them they are going to do so. Indeed, I would have preferred that immediately, the day before you are sworn in, he sees evidence.
Because you're actually supposed to declare before you take office.
True.
Yeah.
Now, he sees evidence before you are sworn in. I would have preferred that. But I'm happy that we are not sweeping under the carpet and pretending that there's nothing happening. And he says they are going to issue timelines. I would have equally preferred that if you can't do it before, it should be within the week. So the week of you being sworn in, let's say you are very busy, but it should be that same time that you should declare your assets. Our asset declaration regime is terrible. It's useless, but at least comply with the law.
But those who are
You
MPs,
can't be a lawless minister.
the MPs shouldn't have a problem because they are mandated to declare their assets.
True.
So if you're
and there are a lot of them
an
in this
MP
country
and
anyway.
you're a minister, we expect that you would have done that. The Ghanaian Times newspaper has got the same story on the front page as its banner headline, so I'm not going to touch it. The president's admonition to the ministers. Commander Sugar Factory will be operationalized. That's according to the trade minister designate. GJA to pursue justice for Latif Idrisu and late Ahmed Swale at the ICC. That's a very important story. Says the Ghana Journalists Association says it will pursue justice for slain investigative journalist Ahmed Swale at the International Criminal Court if the Ghana Police Service fail to arrest and prosecute persons involved in the alleged murder. It has therefore given the police up to March 2025 to bring closure on the matter. So addressing journalists at the International Press Center in Accra on Thursday, the president of the GJA, Albert Jimfor, said the association would collaborate with international partners such as the Federation of African Journalists to ensure justice was achieved for the late Swale and his family. There's also a story about mother.
They should force the president, like he demanded in writing, updates on the killing of 8 people in the last election, that he should equally demand this from the IGP. I am insisting that I don't know whether the IGP has responded quickly, that if there is no appropriate response, he should remove him. He should actively take the steps to remove him if he's not doing so.
On this issue, on this particular matter.
Because this selective approach, that other issues matter more than others, is terrible. This matter has been happening for God knows how long. Every time. Remember, we even asked the Attorney General, I'm here to see what they call it. They say they are still investigating. But we, the people that have mandated you to investigate the matter, you are not dealing with it properly. And it's not only Ahmed Swale that's important. The issue about Latif, on one hand, if even police attack on journalists can go without any proper investigation, what do you expect when it happens when other people are the ones doing it? So I am insistent that the executive president should not only be concerned about people who died, Ahmed Swali equally died in this republic, and that we expect that part of his claims from the IGP, and I'm demanding that he should remove him if he's unable to give him the response that he wants.
So I think one of the things that we could do, because it's, this is a fresh administration, will be to petition the president, and it should be very early, so that the president can also tax the police to do the investigations and present. I mean, we have to start from somewhere. I mean, but just saying it on air will not necessarily
the president has
reach
listened
the
to so many things that have been said on
So let's
air.
follow up with the formal petition to the president. There's one more story that I want to talk about. A mother declared wanted by unlawful removal of child. Have you seen the notice by the police and the description they give to the woman? Well, the paper carries the story, but I also have the notice from the police, and I just want to highlight just a little bit of it, how they want us to identify this woman that
Just
is
want to talk
wanted.
about the breast part. The police say there's a tattoo
There's a
on the breast
tattoo on her right breast.
The boys are
and I'm
asking,
just
how can they
wondering-
identify that?
Exactly. It's a legitimate question. But let's all help
Say
the
it's a
police.
legitimate
They've
question.
declared Miss Karen Baba Sam wanted for unlawful child removal. This declaration follows a bench warrant issued by the Achimota District Court for her arrest by the police. Please look out for details of how we can identify her.
Now, so the finder is reporting this morning, Galam say, bold, unambiguous move is essential to bring an end to the menace. This is Dr. Steve Mantiao there. And industrial producer price inflation slows to 40.2%. You know, when we say slows to, one would have expected 2.5%, 1.2%, but 40.2%.
Hey.
Yes, in December 2024. Mostly we consider and concern ourselves with CPI, but we hardly spend quality time on the producer price inflation. And 24-hour economy will boost one district, one factory initiative. This is Trade Minister designate. But Wednesday, did they answer my question?
That
The plan to replace our top 10 imports. That is the document I want to see this government.
Well, I
produce.
mean, I haven't seen that document. She's talked about reducing imports, and this morning I've been sharing with you some, imports data from the Ghana Statistical Service. The thing about one district, one factory, is that if you wholesale set up an office in Accra, expecting that office to, deal with the private sector, you'd have the private sector probably setting up, factories in Accra and in Kumasi and maybe Takrady or Koforidua or Tamale. But when you actually give the districts the opportunity to now go out there, market themselves and say, this is our competitive advantage. And this is why you should come to, say, Mpoho district. This is what we have in quantities that cannot be found anywhere in the country. You can have cheap labor. We have good roads, which means you can actually transport. Now, we're very close to the Takrady Harbour, which means that you can also export these products. Then the district are beginning to tell people why they should come there. This wholesale staying in Accra and thinking that by staying in Accra and setting up a 1D, 1F office, that's the end of it. In fact,
that's if you mean business or you're just doing it for doing sake. There's always a difference between
exactly.
the two.
The NPP's first budget in March 2017 said they were going to give 2 million Ghana cedis each as equity funding to the district as part of 1D, 1F. That was the realization that the districts will play a major role in it. Subsequently, they set it up here in Accra and started going, yes. I mean, it is true that we have said that, and I have always insisted that existing businesses have created between 60 to 80% of new jobs. If you look at the literature, some say 60, some say 70, some say 80. So we say existing businesses will create between 60 to 80% of new jobs until you target existing businesses. That notwithstanding, if you want to create new businesses, it must start from the bottom. This is a country that has the best of policies.
But it should be need-based.
Exactly.
The people have a composite budget, which indicates that these are the areas of opportunities, even in their own area.
Raymond,
and
look,
they know it.
This is the point. If you look at our local economic development policy, the policy says that every district should look at its competitive advantage, form an economic committee, and that committee would engage, because before you get anything going, there should be a buy-in even from the constituents, the members of the district, who would say, this is what we believe we can do. Now we put together these nice documents. We study it. We write about it. Unfortunately, we never implement it. And so we'll show it to people and say, well, this is our local economic development policy. At the end of the day, we do nothing about it. So 1D1F is in Accra, and they're liaising with people. They build factories that nobody actually, uses or gets employed in. Anyway, let's get to the... You want to make a point?
Yeah, one more important story that I want to highlight, and it's on cervical cancer. So we're losing over 50% of our women diagnosed of cervical cancer, largely due to late reporting. Over 75% of our cases coming in at stages 3 and 4, which is very advanced, accounting for our mortality rates. This is really important. That was a direct quote. Women have been urged to take screening for human papilloma virus infection seriously as cases of cervical cancer continue to soar in the country.
Maybe women's groups should make it as part of their projects, to do the screening as part of, say, even women's groups in churches, right? So if they are doing a celebration, it says compulsory for every member of our group to get this. I mean, let's take it down there, not remain at the top. And because women are more likely to seek health care. So let's take it down there.
Yeah.
So that I can meet them with it. And then early detection, and we can do something about it.
Yeah, and you're at risk. Once you're sexually active, you are at risk.
Yes.